En toen geadd op Facebook, daar heeft hij wel...
Wow. Interesting space. This is so beautiful. Yes, because what we're going to do is somewhere on the verge of theater, public debates, art.
Yeah, Sandra already told me a little bit about it.
It really feels like the perfect fit. It was exactly what we were looking for in this space. Okay, so we can already start sketching a little bit tonight. How much chance do we have to get this one?
Well, it's still, I think it's about the concept. So the artistic director, she will read the concept, and if it's fine for her, then we can have it.
But the essence is that that the people we get, we are still exactly in a legal frame. So we can simply say that the project is about a debate on the borders of democracy. I think the most important thing is to make clear that it's juridically safe for them. We need a space that is close to the street, that is close to public space, feels part of public space, and at the same time articulates something different. That's what I constantly call what is a political space in between parliament and the street. The project that I'm realizing for the Berlin Biennial is entitled New World Summit. It's a 2-day summit in which speakers will be invited from organizations that are placed on so-called designated lists of terrorist organizations. These are lists that ban certain political organizations from performing their activities by making it possible for them to have bank accounts, to travel freely, or to receive or trade arms. These lists are conceived in very untransparent ways. It's often unclear who are the commissions and what their criteria are for putting these organizations on the list, but it basically means that you are placed somewhere outside of democracy. In that sense, these organizations and their representatives, they somehow physically embody the limits of democracy. They're kind of the black hole of our system where human rights do no longer apply. So the attempt of the New World Summit is to act upon the distinction I make between democracy and democratism. And then democratism refers to the governmental framework that we live with today, that tries to administer the principles of democracy. That means the inclusion of every person, but obviously the terrorist lists prove that it's unable to do so. And for me, democracy, it's a word that indicates a form of action in which there is an attempt to bring back these principles of egalitarian society. So the summit itself is an extension of democratism. It tries to include those who are excluded today. Thereby it tries to reveal something of the existing political order and its limits, even though it will defend itself and say that it has no limits. I want to show that it does. Well, for me, what's very important about the New World Summit is that it's a completely legal project. So I've worked together with my lawyer to get it realized. Also in the choice of which organizations we have represented. I want to be absolutely sure that, I mean, we are working on the limits of what democratism can accept, and these limits will be made visible through this project. But it's not an illegal parliament. What I'm realizing is a legitimate parliament. It's a juridically sound parliament. And I follow, in that sense, completely the rules as they are laid out by democratism, but in that sense I try to push them to a level where the inner structure of our political system is revealed, or at least made public, by inviting people excluded from the system to discuss exactly this form of exclusion, or exactly these limits. Them being physically present will make these limits physically present, but it will also allow them, the people that you would never hear reflect about this issue, to share their thoughts with us. So for me, that is the core of the project, is that it's a form of democratic action. It's not. I don't see that as neutral. I don't see the defense of democracy as neutral. So for me, democratic action means somehow every time remembering that aspect that we forget. Every time confronting ourselves and our communities with that we exclude or wish to keep out of the picture, because it says so very much about our goals and intentions. And for me, the New World Summit is exactly that. It's not that this will create the ultimate solution by bringing in these organizations around the table, even though I do believe that it's a kind of a radical form of diplomacy, let's say, which I like also because of its bizarre contradiction, but I think it can go beyond that. I do actually think that this might be a beginning of a process that does not so much leads to consensus, but creates a framework in which a debate can place, which makes it which makes violence or conflict in the violent sense less necessary. At the end, violence is nothing more than a bad articulation of something that might be said in different terms. So the attempt with the New World Summit is to really bring back that discussion about what is democracy and what is it not, to the center of the debate.